In the policy breakdown tonight, I want to talk about, yup, you guessed it, guns. The president really didn't focus on guns very much in his State of the Union address because last year he made the big pivot on guns, and Republicans and the NRA did everything in their power to block gun control. And not even real gun control. We're not talking about banning assault rifles or getting rid of high capacity magazines. Simply background checks. Background checks on gun sales. Less than 2% of gun applicants are even denied their guns. So you go to a store, that means out of every 100 people, only 2 get denied because of background checks. It tells you how faulty the system is. And let's think about it this way. Since Newtown last year, we've had over, 15 to 20 different school shootings. We had a shooting just a couple weeks ago, a couple miles away from our studio here in Washington, D.C. at the Columbia, Maryland Mall, where a random guy walked in and just started guns blazing, killing 2 individuals in a mall, America. Now, the NRA will tell you, they'll continue to make this argument that, well, if there was somebody in the mall who had a gun, then the guy with a gun wouldn't have got away with it. And let's talk about that argument for just a second, because I want to unpack that if we can. So in Columbine, which was one of the first of these long string of school shootings that we had over the past, I would say 15 to 20 years, there were 2 armed guards with guns at the Columbine shooting. 2 armed guards who had guns. And guess what? Those armed guards were outgunned by the bad guys, right? They had better weapons than them. Newtown, armed guard with a gun, outgunned by Adam Lanza. We don't solve gun violence in this country by giving good people guns. We solve gun violence in this country by getting rid of guns altogether. America. Just think about it. The same day as Newtown, in a small country in China, a guy went to a school with a knife and started stabbing people. 18 wounded, no one killed. Newtown, 20 killed, more wounded. America. If we truly want to solve the violence in our community, we've got to do a couple things. Thing number 1, we've got to get guns out of the hands of bad guys. And I'm not talking about getting guns away from sportsmen and hunters. That's not what I'm talking about. There's no reason that people who are mentally ill, and Creed Deeds, senator from Virginia, could tell you this story, because his son Gus, same thing. Weapons in the wrong hands, not enough mental health care in this country. So we need to increase mental health care, and we need to take the guns out of the hands of bad people. Just that simple. There's no reason that an axe murderer should be able to buy enough weapons at a gun show to blow up a school, or like I usually say, blow up the Taliban. No reason for that. No reason why somebody should be able to buy a rocket launcher from a gun show in Arizona, right? So reason somebody should be able to go on Instagram and Craigslist and Facebook and be able to buy a high capacity magazine without a background check, without somebody looking into their history, with somebody not looking into how crazy or deranged they might actually be. That shouldn't be able to happen. And that's number 1. And number 2, how we solve gun violence. Like, don't get me wrong. I totally get those folks like to go hunting and kill deer. And I have no problem with sportsmen. I think our Constitution protects you to go ahead and shoot as many deer as you'd like. But be very careful about when those guns get in the hands of the wrong people. A lot of times, they get in the hands of immature people. So those guns get in the hands of children, right? And we've seen stories where children have blown other kids' heads off because they're playing with daddy's gun. Or the My Rifle kit that the NRA likes to give out to little kids so they can go and shoot each other. Not okay. And number 3, the laws that have been put in place in our country, and there's a lot of them, that make those who have guns be more powerful than those without guns. We're all equal under our Constitution, and the Constitution guarantees equality. That's what it does. Liberty and justice for all is what our Pledge of Allegiance says. But when one person has a gun and laws are put in place to give that person more power, we have a serious problem. Case in point, the stand your ground law. The stand your ground law says somebody could walk into our studio, and because I said to them, hey, get out of our studio, they could pull out their gun, they could shoot me, they could shoot my production staff, and then they could say, well, I was standing my ground because I felt threatened. They have been given more power. Not only have they been given the power of life and death, but they have been given the power to now, not only the power of life and death, but the power to say that they were standing their ground. And they are more powerful to stand their ground than an unarmed person is to stand his or her ground. Think about the Trayvon Martin case, for example, where Trayvon Martin was a young man walking home from 7-Eleven with Skittles and an iced tea. Trayvon didn't have a weapon. Trayvon wasn't committing any crimes. Trayvon decided to take a walk to get a sugar high as a teenager, as most folks do when they're teenagers. But because George Zimmerman saw Trayvon as a threat, he had the power to determine whether or not Trayvon lived or died, and he used the laws that were put in place by the state of Florida, this ideal of standing your ground, to take away Trayvon's life, and then to walk as a free man. Because what? He was self-defense. I got my gun, and I felt threatened. Well, Mr. Zimmerman, if there was a fair fight, fist to fist, not fist to the bottom, the end of a gun, right? Or the barrel of a gun, but fist to fist, Trayvon might have whooped your ass, one. And number two, he would still be alive today. But because people, because of the NRA, are given the ability to choose whether somebody else lives or dies, we have created a serious situation in this country. And it's not just Trayvon. It's not just Trayvon, y'all. It's Adam Lanza. Adam Lanza had the ability to determine the life or death of 26 young people. 26 young people. Because he acquired a gun from a mother. He wouldn't have the permit to the gun, but he acquired the gun and he used that gun to shoot people. We could sit here all day long and talk about the different instances where people who shouldn't have had guns had a gun and used that gun to determine the life or death of somebody else. But there's also those situations and cases where the person received their permit rightfully. They followed all the laws, they followed all the checks, they have a clean background, and they have the ability to determine life or death based upon what they felt or what they deemed to be a threat. Maybe it could have been an accident, like what happened in Michigan, where a young woman was looking for help because her car had broken down, and a man walked out, is no longer here anymore. The joy that we would receive from having Hadia Pendleton, her dreams, her destiny, her ability to pursue the American dream was limited because somebody had access to a gun that shouldn't have had access to a gun, and they used that gun to take away her life. They put a name tag, that bullet, whether it was meant for Hadia Pendleton or not, took her life away. America, if we are truly a nation where we all have the right to liberty, life, and the pursuit of happiness, we have got to find a way to limit the power that guns have over our society.